This coverage of the 2021 International Drag Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony is brought to you by Top Coat, the best coatings in the world. Roy Hill's Drag Racing School. It's more than just a drag racing school. And by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever.
The Loki Brothers, Ron and Jean, two of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. But let me tell you something, they built some super parts. They go all the way back to 1960. Every Garlett's car that was built from 1960 through 1967 had Loki parts on it. Front torsion bars, roll bars, all the stuff they made, everything. They built some wonderful cars besides. They built the car that Coletta drove at the 1962 U.S. Nationals that I got in and set the world record. And Bernie Partridge called me Big Daddy. Been there ever since. A Loki car. This was the epitome of drag racing for the Loki Brothers. This small block Chevy with this streamlined body, injected, no supercharger, was able to outrun top fuel Chrysler powered nitro burning dragsters. It was the terror of the drag strip. It weighed almost 800 pounds ready to go to the line, all designed by the Loki Brothers. It is my utmost pleasure to introduce them into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. They deserve it.
I'll tell you, I'd rather be upside down and on fire than standing up here, but I'll do my best. Ron and Jeanlogie, two men who changed the face of drag racing. They managed near total domination of the funny car racing in '66 and '67. It all stemmed from Logie Stamping Company, founded by their father, Maurice Logie, who immigrated from Belgium to the U.S. to seek his fortune. By the early 60s, they had built several race cars. One of the first was for Connie Coletta, clocking speeds in excess of 180 miles an hour. They had also rocked the race world in 1964 at Fremont with their newest creation, the Giant Killer, sea-fuel dragster powered by a 389 cubic inch small block Chevrolet running on 100% nitro with Jim Marsh driving, turned an astounding 792 at 187.92. By the mid-60s, they inked a secret deal with Mercury to build several lightweight Comet funny cars. The revolutionary flip-top bodies generated a boom in the competition products division. And most importantly, Loki chassis were affordable. Ron and Jean's innovations, after 50 years, are still an influence on the sport today. Ron and Jean Logie, their innovations, kindness, friendship, sincerity, and their dedication to the sport. They were, in my opinion, the best in the business.
Our next inductee is Frank Ace Manzo, one of the winningest top alcohol funny car drivers of all time. He dominated the sport for over 5 decades, and this was his favorite brand, funny cars. I never liked them myself, I didn't like them pulling a body down over me, but Frank loved it. He spent all of his days in these kind of cars, and he was one of the winningest drivers of all time.
I can only think of about 2 people when you say 17 NHRA championships. One being Frank Manzo, and the other one is some funny car racer from California you might have heard of. And if you add in all of Frank's divisional and regional championships, now we're up there talking like most NHRA wins ever, possibly winningest drag racer ever. Now, if you've ever seen Frank Manzo run, he was a killer on the Christmas tree. He only red lit 9 times. Now that is consistency, focus, true professionalism, and downright just the best. In 2008, I raced him first round at Indy, and he went ahead and whipped me every way you possibly could, and I just watched him drive off into the sunset, and that was that. In fact, my dad called me after that round and said, "Son, you just got your ass kicked by the best ever." As I grew up watching Frank Manzo and talked to dozens of people about him, the one common denominator was his work ethic. He just flat wanted it more than you did. I actually heard a story one time about how he cut windshields for his funny car 5 at a time so they would all have the same contour. And he'd go test, and one run on a windshield, take it off, put another one on. I don't have that kind of commitment. In fact, I don't care that much. You have to understand that we're talking about an alcohol car, okay? We aren't the nitro cars, but you know what? Frank Manzo, he turned a lot of heads. Innovation. Frank was always thinking. So much of the technology you see in today's fuel cars came from Frank, whether it be in the funny car or the Pro Mod, layback headers, that was Frank. Frank Manzo, I can't think of a more deserving candidate. He's the best there is, and to me, probably the best there ever will be. They call him the Madawan Missile, Ace Frank Manzo.
More legends of the sport still on the way, including a pioneer from down under.